2025. How the heck is it already 2025? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you are brand new. Today we're going to be talking about my most anticipated cozy games of 2025. Before we start that, I don't know, I want to hear your opinions on this year. I want to hear your opinions on 2024. Was it a good year for you in terms of gaming? For me, it was pretty mid. You know, there were some good games, but I'll remember 2024 as like early access, games that weren't finished, games that came out and just didn't stick, you know, weren't that exciting. But you know what? Enough of that. We're talking about 2025, and in today's video, I've collected a bunch of my most anticipated games for the upcoming year, and it could be a really good year. So yeah, I have a bunch of games that I want to show you and talk a little bit about. So let's get that started. The first game on the list is Sugardew Island, which is set to release in early 2025. Now I gotta say, the more I see of this game, the more I need it in my life. This is quickly becoming one of my most anticipated games, and the fact that it's coming out early in 2025 is definitely great to hear. Now, this is your sort of, you know, average cozy game, right? You're going to be doing things like farming, fishing, taking care of animals. But in this game, and you'll see this in a couple other games on this list actually, you own your own store. So basically all the resources that you get, the milk from your cows, the different crops that you grow, you can actually sell in your store to the people in town. And I really like that. Instead of just dropping your stuff off in a deposit bin, collecting your money, no, you actually have to sell these to customers, which I really love. There also seems to be a lot of story elements, a lot of like fantasy story elements. And this game, the more I see it, the more it kind of reminds me of Fae Farm, which is another game that I really enjoyed. So Sugardew Island, it will be out on Switch as well as PC and all the other consoles. I'm kind of interested to see how this one is going to run on the Switch. We've seen a lot of great games, but when they make it over to Nintendo, they're a little shaky. So Sugardew Island, I'm very much looking forward to, and you should be too. The next game on the list is Discounty, which comes out in early 2025. And yeah, again, this is a shop management game. I didn't realize how many games were on the list that you run a shop, but Discounty is another super anticipated game, at least for me. This is a beautiful pixel art game where you run a store, and that's basically the only element to it. I don't think you have some of these other cozy elements that a game like Sugardew Island had, but Discounty is full of shop management. If you like sort of the supermarket simulator type games, you know, you're gonna really like this as well. Now, the writing seems very funny, very clever, and there seems to be sort of a darker side of this game. If you watch any of the trailers, there's sort of this like, I don't know, as your store grows and as your store expands, things start happening to the town, you know, like your store will get so big that you start polluting the water, and the people in the town don't really take too kindly to that. I really like the idea of, you know, with success comes like a downside as well. So yeah, Discounty is one that I cannot wait to play. It's nice to have a game that's just not focused on farming, you know? But yeah, Discounty I think is a can't miss game. Will be out in early 2025. So again, you won't have to wait too long. The next game is the only game that I've actually played on this entire list, and that is Tales of the Shire, which does have a definitive release date of March 25th. So again, early 2025. And this game was actually supposed to come out last year and got delayed. It was supposed to come out in 2024, got delayed. They basically said that this game needed a bit more time in the oven, which I can appreciate. It would have been nice to have this game come out because 2024, I feel like, was a pretty bad year for games. But Tales of the Shire is a Lord of the Rings spin-off game where you play as a hobbit. You can create your own character, and there's tons of the cozy things that you come to expect. You got your farming, you got different quests that the people in your town will need you to fulfill. There's decorating. Now, I played a limited build of this game. I actually, was able to go hands-on, and I did make a video about my full impressions if you want to check that out. But Tales of the Shire, from what I played, is very promising. I like the world. I played it on PC. It is coming to Switch and stuff like that. I did play it on PC. There were things that I didn't really like about the game, you know, but there were a lot of things that I did like. Mainly the world. I really do like the world. Even though I'm not super familiar with Lord of the Rings, this was still very enjoyable to play. A lot of the mechanics like farming and decorating were very seamless, and the writing, from what I saw, was pretty good too. So Tales of the Shire is set to be one of the major cozy game releases of 2025, and from what I've played, I would be pretty excited about this one. Next up, oh man, I am so excited. I am so excited about Moonlighter 2, which was recently announced to be releasing in 2025. Now, this game, again, has a shop element to it. However, this is far less cozier than any other game on this list. Well, there's a game coming up that's not so cozy. But Moonlighter 2, if you haven't played the first Moonlighter, I would suggest playing it. It's usually on sale, deep discount on the eShop, and there's so much to that game where, you know, you could probably get it for like $3 or $4. But Moonlighter is basically a game that has you dungeon crawling. So there's a lot of combat to it. So this might not be for everyone, but Moonlighter 2 seems to continue what Moonlighter, you know, set up the groundwork to be. So Moonlighter 2, you go in dungeons and randomly generated dungeons, and you fight monsters and collect resources from chests and whatever resources the monsters drop. Then you take those resources and sell them in your shop. The cool thing about the shop mechanic is you don't know what things are worth. So you could be selling things, and it is up to you to look at your customer's reaction to see if you're overcharging, undercharging, or your price is just right. This game is so addicting, and the second game looks amazing. It looks so good. You're seeing it on the screen now. The graphics look so good. This is towards the top of my, this might be on the top of my list for all of 2025. I loved the first one so much. I think it is one of the better indies, and this one looks just as good. Gallery, Coloring Book, and Decor is an upcoming Steam release. Now, this game is also available on Google Play and the App Store. So it started out as a mobile game, and this is one of your color by number type games. So you start off with a blank canvas with a bunch of numbers. Each of the numbers corresponds to a specific color, and it is up to you to slowly color in these beautiful pictures. Now, this game features hundreds of these pictures, so you'll have plenty to do, but that's not all. This game also features an interior decorating part. So basically in this game, you're renovating an old house, and you can kind of customize it the way you want. So I love games that have like two different parts of it. Like, it's not only the coloring, but also it's also the interior decorating. There's also a story mode, believe it or not, that you can follow that follows this couple. So yeah, definitely a lot to do in this game. The pictures are really cute and vibrant. And yeah, I love that this one is coming over to Steam. I prefer to play my games on like a bigger screen rather than like a phone or even an iPad or anything like that. But yeah, the pictures are super cute, very colorful and vibrant. Definitely check this one out if you enjoy these types of games. Again, that is Gallery, Coloring Book, and Decor. Next up is Fantasy Life: The Girl Who Steals Time, which is set to release in April of 2025. Now, this game has been delayed a few times now. It had 2 different release dates. I do feel confident in this one. Level 5 is the developer, and they make great games. So I do think Fantasy Life will come out in April 2025. I actually had this in my video last year, but we've seen so much of this game already. We've seen this in extended gameplay videos. We've seen this game in multiple trailers, in multiple events. So I really do think this game is going to come out this year. If you're new to this series, oh man, I envy you, because this is such a great series, and it's kind of a choose your own adventure. So basically in Fantasy Life, you can specialize in these different jobs. So you can choose to be a woodcutter or a farmer or a cook, and based on those different jobs, you will get different quests, which also makes this game quite replayable. So yeah, this game looks fantastic. I love the world. I love that they're sort of including elements that the series hasn't had before, like terraforming. So I really think that the Animal Crossing crowd could gravitate towards this one. There is combat in this game, which might deter some people, but man, am I looking forward to this game. And we won't have to wait too long. It should be out in Q1 of 2025. So look forward to that. Next up, we know probably the least about this game than any of the other ones on this list, and that is the upcoming Story of Seasons game, which has no release date, release window, but if I was a betting man, I would say 2025 seems like a good time to release this game. This seems like a pretty ambitious Story of Seasons title. If you look back at some of the more recent Story of Seasons releases, they've played it very safe. You know, they put out a bunch of remakes, and even the newer game that they did come out with played it pretty safe. This game looks to take a leap into the next sort of phase of what Story of Seasons could be. The trailer featured a glider, which makes me think this is going to be an open world experience. Again, nothing has been confirmed, but I'm just kind of putting two and two together. If someone needs a glider, that means the world is big, or big, so big that you need something to traverse it. So I'm very much looking forward to this. I love the graphical style as well. It kind of looks like the A Wonderful Life remake, but just a little bit more stylized. I love the Story of Seasons series, so I am very much looking forward to this. And when we learn more information, I will definitely report on this. But for now, we can just kind of wait. And I would say that this game is either going to be coming out this year or early next year, but I'm hoping it's going to be 2025. What will release in 2025 is the newest Rune Factory game, Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma, which is coming out in spring of 2025. This game looks incredible, so much so that I'm doubting if it's even going to release on Switch 1. I think it will, because it is spring 2025. But man, this game looks great. Now, the only thing that concerns me is that they haven't shown a lot of the cozier elements that a proper Rune Factory would have, such as farming and ranching and things like that. I very much expect that to show up in this game, but they've showed a lot of action, sort of like action RPG elements, which the series also has. If you're a Rune Factory fan, especially if you liked Rune Factory 5, which I kind of didn't, this is going to be a day one purchase for you all day. But yeah, Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma looks fantastic, and it's coming out very soon. So lastly, I wanted to include a couple of smaller titles. One is a Kickstarter, but the first one is called Vampire Rancher, which is set to release in 2025. This one is a super unique little indie title, and more people need to be talking about it. Vampire Rancher has you play as a vampire, as in the name. And it's very interesting because during the day, because the sun is out, you're like weaker. So you got to do the cozy things like farming, crafting, ranching, fishing, like things like that. But at night, your vampire nature takes over and you become stronger and you have all new abilities. One of these abilities includes feeding on people in the town. So every day, I think different people come into your town. And it's really cool because depending on who you feed on, you get powers based on who that person was. So if you're feeding on someone who was like a woodcutter, you'll have, you know, better wood cutting abilities if you feed on them. Kind of morbid, kind of sick, but yeah, I like the twist of the, you know, run-of-the-mill cozy games. I also really like the graphics in this. It's like a very simple pixel art design. So I will be first in line when this game comes out. This, again, is Vampire Rancher, and it is set to come out in 2025. The last game is coming to Kickstarter in January of 2025, and this is called Monsterpatch. Now, there's not a ton that's known about this game, although the developer has been pretty active on social media. But Monsterpatch is the same developer that created Littlewood, which is one of my favorite cozy games on the Switch. Littlewood was a very, you know, relaxed cozy game that had no combat, no quests, like kind of just like creating your own town. Monsterpatch is very different than that. It is a cozy monster battler game. So think of games like Pokemon or Moonstone Island, but you have your cozy elements mixed in there. Now, what's very interesting about Monsterpatch is it started out in one art style, and is now moved into a different art style. So the previous art style looked very much like a Game Boy Advance game, where the new art style looks like Game Boy Color. So I'm wondering if you can switch between those. Nothing yet has been confirmed, but the Kickstarter is set to release in January. And you know what? I could actually see this game being released later this year or early 2026. Wanted to include it because I've been following the development cycle of this, and it definitely has my interest. All right, so those were some of my most anticipated games of the upcoming year. Let me know if I missed any. I might make a part 2 or even a part 3 to this, depending on if you guys like this video or not. But yeah, let me know in the comments what games you were looking forward to. I really wanted to include games that we definitely know are coming out. Not in early access, not half finished, like games that we actually know are coming out. Besides Story of Seasons, like all of these are gonna come out in 2025. So it should be a good year for games, man. I'm very excited. And yeah, we could leave 2024 behind. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe. It is free. Or check out one of these videos on the screen. Pat, please tell me you remembered to make an end screen with some videos. I'll see you later, guys.